Department filed an appeal late Saturday to restore President Donald Trump's immigration order barring citizens from 7 mainly Muslim countries and temporarily banning refugees, even as travelers raced to enter the country while the ban was lifted. The government moved to reverse a federal judge's Friday order that lifted the travel ban and warned the decision posed an immediate harm to the public, thwarted enforcement of an executive order, and second-guesses the president's national security judgment about the quantum of risk posed by the admission of certain classes of non-citizens and the best means of minimizing that risk. Friday's ruling prompted Trump to denounce the so-called judge in a series of tweets on Saturday. The appeal now goes to a 3-judge panel which can act at any time to uphold the order or suspend it pending a full appeal. A Justice Department spokesman declined to comment beyond the filing. The ruling could come at any time. Seattle U.S. District Judge James Robarts' decision barred the administration from enforcing the sweeping order that also indefinitely barred Syrian refugee admissions and prompted large protests across the United States. Trump, whose personal attack on Robarts, decrying his opinion as ridiculous, went too far for some who said the president was undermining an institution designed to check the power of the White House and Congress, said he was confident the government would prevail. "We'll win. For the safety of the country, we'll win," he told reporters in Florida. Robarts' ruling came in a case brought by the State Attorney General of Washington State and was backed by major state employers Amazon.com Include and Expedia Incorporated. The lawsuit is one of several now filed against the Trump executive order around the United States, but it was the first case leading to a broad decision that applies nationwide. The Justice Department appeal criticized Robarts' legal reasoning, saying it violates the separation of powers and steps on the president's authority as commander-in-chief. The appeal said the state of Washington lacked standing to challenge the order and denied that the order favors Christians at the expense of Muslims. Congress gave the president the unreviewable authority to suspend the admission of any class of visitor, the Justice Department wrote. Courts are particularly ill-equipped to second-guess the president's prospective judgment about future risks, the appeal said, calling the decision vastly overbroad. Washington state lawyers worked around the clock last weekend against the backdrop of turbulent scenes at U.S. airports, where immigrants were detained by federal officials unprepared to implement the president's directive. A spokesman for Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson didn't immediately comment early Sunday. The U.S. State Department and Department of Homeland Security said they were complying with Robarts' order and many visitors are expected to start arriving on Sunday, while the government said it expects to begin admitting refugees again on Monday. The decision to reinstate Trump's order could again cause havoc at U.S. airports because some visitors are in transit, as was the case when the order took effect on January 27. As the ban lifted Friday, refugees and thousands of travelers from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen who had been stopped in their tracks last weekend by the executive order scrambled to get flights to quickly enter the United States. The panel that will decide whether to immediately block the ruling includes 3 judges appointed by former Republican President George W. Bush and 2 former Democratic presidents, Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama. U.S. immigration advocacy groups including the American Civil Liberties Union on Saturday in a joint statement urged those with now valid visas from the 7 nations to consider rebooking travel to the United States immediately because the ruling could be overturned or put on hold. The U.S. State Department email reviewed by Reuters said the department is working to begin admitting refugees including Syrians as soon as Monday. Trump's January 27 order had barred admission of citizens from 7 majority Muslim nations for 90 days, suspended all refugee admissions for 120 days and indefinitely barred Syrian refugees. Separation of powers. It is unusual for a president to attack a member of the judiciary, which the U.S. Constitution designates as a check to the power of the executive branch and Congress. Reached by email Saturday, Robarts declined comment on Trump's tweets. Democratic U.S. Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont said in a statement Saturday that Trump's hostility toward the rule of law is not just embarrassing, it is dangerous. He seems intent on precipitating the constitutional crisis. In an interview with ABC scheduled to air Sunday, Vice President Mike Pence said he did not think that Trump's criticisms of the judge undermined the separation of powers. The court ruling was the first move in what could be months of legal challenges to Trump's push to clamp down on immigration. The sudden reversal of the ban catapulted would-be immigrants back to airports, with uncertainty over how long the window to enter the United States will remain open. In Erbil, the capital of the Kurdish region of northern Iraq, Fuad Sharif and his family prepared to fly on Saturday to Istanbul and then New York before starting the new life in Nashville, Tennessee. Virtually all refugees also were barred by Trump's order, upending the lives of thousands of people who have spent years seeking asylum in the United States.